making sure that people have access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food. Food supply chains everywhere are being disrupted. You see a lack of farm labourers, transportation, infrastructure and logistics within these supply chains are breaking down. You see farmers feeding strawberries to cows, pouring milk down the drain. There's just significant amounts of food waste that's being generated on the fields. There is a real danger of countries closing their borders, and especially food surplus countries. And if they do close their borders and limit these exports, what are some of the implications in terms of food prices and food availability? That's really relevant for a country like Singapore that imports like 90% of its food. Globally, you see that a third of the food that is being produced is being wasted, whether all the way from farm level through transportation and logistics, and then at the consumer end when we don't finish our food or we let our food spoil in the fridge. How can we make sure that the food choices that we make are in line with the food choices that the planet needs in order to maintain all these planetary limits and boundaries and make sure that we do protect all the habitats as well as the wildlife?
We really need to start asking ourselves where the food comes from.
What are the pigs and the chickens and the cows eating? Where is that feed coming from? Is that sustainably produced soy or actually produced on recently deforested land? We need to think about how we can eat less meat, because I think that will really go a long way to reducing the impacts on the environment. I think especially in Singapore, as a developed country, there tends to be an overconsumption of meat.
My brother and I set up the food bank in 2012. We reached out to close to 300,000 people. So in fact, last year we already started having conversations with a few of the government agencies to say that, hey, you need to select a few of us bigger ones, bigger charities that has the logistics power to start deconflicting the database of who is getting help. Because there's duplicated food aid going out there. If you can just support the local farms a little bit more, essentially you're reducing the carbon footprint by a lot. And now with technology and the shorter growing time, I really believe that it's not just about 30% by 2030. I really think that we can even achieve something like 50% of the leafy greens you can actually consume from Singapore. I think one of the biggest attitudes that needs to be changed is firstly, not always demanding for cheap items. The larger users, whether it's the large hotels or you have all the F&B establishments, because they have been so pampered with the cheap produce and imports, I think the local farms have been struggling. If all of us start requesting for healthier options or more local options to the restaurants, to the people that we dine with, then I think there's an impetus for the businesses to also then want to be able to buy local items. It's the power of the dollar, because we are the customers and we likely have a say in how the F&B outlets will make their choices moving on in the future. Stop looking at the dollars and cents as much, but give the local vegetables and give the local farmers a chance to flourish in this environment.